God banished Adam and Eve from the garden. Then he cursed them and their future children, and for the first time, suffering existed on the earth. This is why we still suffer today, because Eve's original sin is inside of all of us. That sin is wanting to know more than we are supposed to know, wanting more instead of being grateful for what we have, and doing what we want to do instead of what we should do. That was some careful accounting. I had no further questions. Blowjobs. My husband and I began working with a therapist after he admitted that he had been sleeping with other women. Now we save up our problems throughout the week and take them to her on Tuesday evenings. When friends ask me if she's any good, I say, I guess so. I mean, we're still married. Today, I asked to see her alone. I'm tired and jittery because I spent all night silently rehearsing how to tell her what I'm about to tell her. I sit quietly in my chair, hands folded in my lap. She sits upright in the chair across from me. She wears a crisp white pantsuit, sensible heels, no makeup. A wooden bookshelf crowded with textbooks and framed degrees climbs the wall behind her like a beanstalk. Her pen is poised above a leather notebook in her lap, ready to pin me down in black and white. I remind myself, speak calmly, confidently, Glenelyn, like a grown-up. I have something important to tell you. I've fallen in love. I am wildly in love. Her name is Abby. My therapist's mouths fall open. Just enough for me to notice it. She says nothing for an eternal moment. Then she breathes very deeply. Okay. She pauses, starts again. Glenelyn, you know that whatever this is not real. These feelings are not real. Whatever future you're imagining here, that's not real either. This is nothing but a dangerous distraction. It won't end well. It has to stop. I start to say, you don't understand. This is different. But then I think about all the people who sat in this chair and insisted this is different. If she won't let me have Abby, I need to make my case, at least, for never again having my husband. I cannot sleep with him again, I say. You know how hard I've tried. Sometimes I think I've forgiven, but then he climbs on top of me and I hate him again. It's been years and I don't want to be difficult, so I close my eyes and try to float away until it's over. But then I accidentally land back inside my body, and what I land in is white, hot, fiery rage. It's like I try to go dead inside, but there is always a little life left in me, and that life makes sex unbearable. I can't be alive during sex, but I can't get dead enough either, so there's no solution. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm furious that tears come, but they do. I'm begging now, mercy, please. 2 women, 1 white suit, 6 framed degrees, 1 open notebook, 1 pen poised. Then, Glenelyn, have you tried just giving him blowjobs instead? Many women find blowjobs to be less intimate. Directions. I have a son and 2 daughters until they tell me otherwise. My children believe that the shower is a magical portal of ideas. My youngest recently said to me, Mom, it's like I don't have any ideas all day, but when I get in the shower, my brain is full of cool stuff. I think it's the water or something. Could be the water, I said. Or it could be the shower's the only place you're not plugged in, so you can hear your own thoughts in there. She looked at me and said, that thing that happens to you in the shower, babe, it's called thinking. It's something folks did before Google. Thinking. It's like Googling your own brain. Oh, she said, cool. That same child steals my expensive shampoo once a week. So the other day I stomped to the bathroom. She stomped to the bathroom that she shares with her teenage brother and sister to steal it back. I opened the shower curtain and noticed the 20 empty bottles littering the tub's edge. All the bottles on the right side were red, white, and blue. All the bottles on the left side were pink and purple. I picked up a red bottle from what was clearly my son's side. It was tall, rectangular, bulky. It yelled at me in bold red, white, and blue letters. 3 times bigger. Doesn't rob you of your dignity. Armor up in man sense. Drop kick dirt, then slam odor with a folding chair. I thought, what the hell is my son taking a shower preparing for war in here? I picked up one of the girls' slim metallic pink bottles. Instead of barking marching orders at me, that bottle in cursive, flowy font whispered disconnected adjectives. Alluring, radiant, gentle, pure, illuminating, enticing, touchable, light creamy. Not a verb to be found. Nothing to do here. Just a list of things to be. I looked around for a moment to ensure that the shower was not, in fact, a magic portal that had somehow transported me back in time. Nope, there I was, in the 21st century, when boys are still being taught that real men are big, bold, violent, invulnerable, disgusted by femininity, and responsible for conquering women and the world. When girls are still being taught that real women must be quiet, pretty, small, passive, desirable, so they'll be worthy of being conquered. Here we all are. Our sons and daughters are still being shamed out of their full humanity before they even get dressed in the morning. Our children are too vast to fit themselves inside these rigid, mass-produced bottles, but they'll lose themselves trying. Polar bears. Several years ago, my daughter Tisha's teacher called and said that there was a situation at school. During a discussion about wildlife, she'd mentioned to the class that polar bears were losing their homes and food sources because of the melting ice caps. She showed the students a photo of a dying polar bear as an example of many effects of global warming. The rest of the kindergartens thought that this was sad information, but not sad enough to keep from, soldiering onto recess. Not Tish. The teacher reported to me that when the lesson ended, the other kids popped off the carpet to run outside. Tish remained seated, alone, mouth wide open, stunned into paralysis, her little shocked face asking, What? Did you just say that polar bears are dying because the earth is melting? The same earth that we live on? Did you just drop that little tidbit of terror on us at circle time? Tish eventually made it outside, but was unable to participate in recess that day. The other kids tried to get her off the bench to play foursquare with them, but she remained close to her teacher, wide out, asking, do grown-ups know about this? What are they going to do? Are other animals in trouble too? Where's that hungry polar bear's mom? For the next month, our family's life revolved around polar bears. We bought polar bear posters, papered Tish's wall with them. To remember, Mom, I've got to remember. We sponsored 4 polar bears online. We talked about polar bears at dinner, at breakfast, during carpool, and at parties. We discussed polar bears so incessantly, in fact, that after weeks, I began to hate polar bears with every fiber of my being. I began to rue the day that polar bears were ever born. I tried everything I could think to yank Tish out of her polar bear abyss. I called her, I snapped at her, and finally I just lied to her. I asked a friend to send me an official email pretending to be the president of Antarctica, announcing that once and for all the ice caps were fixed and all the polar bears were suddenly A-OK. I opened that fraudulent email and called to Tish in her room. Oh my gosh, baby, come here. Look what I just got. Good news. Tish read the email silently, then turned slowly toward me with a sketching look of scorn. She knew the email was fake because she is sensitive, not stupid. The polar bear saga continued full force. One night I tucked Tish into bed and was tiptoeing out of the room with the joy of a mother who is almost to the promised land. Everybody's asleep and I've got my couch and carbs and Netflix and no one is allowed to touch me or talk to me until the sun rises. Hallelujah. I was closing the door behind me when Tish whispered, "Wait, Mom." Damn it to hell. What, honey? It's the polar bears. Oh, hell no. I walked back to her bed, stared down at her a little manically. Tish looked up at me and said, "Mommy, I just can't stop thinking. It's the polar bears now, but nobody cares. So next it's gonna be us." Then she rolled over, fell asleep, and left me all alone in the dark room, stunned into paralysis myself. I stood over her, eyes wide, arms wrapped around my body. Oh my God. The polar bears. We have to save the mother freaking polar bears. Next is gonna be us. What is wrong with us? Then I looked down at my baby and thought, you are not crazy to be heartbroken over polar bears. The rest of us are crazy not to be. Tish couldn't go to recess because she was paying attention to what her teacher said. As soon as she heard the polar bear news, she let herself feel the horror and know the wrongness and imagine an inevitable outcome. Tish is sensitive, and that is her superpower. The opposite of sensitive is not brave. It's not brave to refuse to pay attention, to refuse to notice, to refuse to feel, to know and imagine. The opposite of sensitive is insensitive, and that's no badge of honor. Tish senses, even as the world tries to speed by her, she's slowly taking it in. Wait, stop. That thing you said about the polar bears, it made me feel something and wonder something. Can we stay there for a moment? I have feelings, I have questions. I'm not ready to run outside to recess yet. In most cultures, folks like Tish are identified early, set apart as shamans, medicine people, poets, and clergy. They are considered eccentric but critical to the survival of the group because they are able to hear things that others don't hear and see things that others don't see and feel things that others don't feel. The culture depends on the sensitivity of a few because nothing can be healed if it's not sensed first. Nothing can be healed if it's not sensed first. But our society is so hell-bent on expansion, power, and efficiency at all costs that the folks like Tish, like me, are inconvenient. We slow the world down. We're on the bow of the Titanic, pointing, crying out, "Iceberg, iceberg," while everyone else is below deck. Ooh, I got excited right there. While everyone else is below deck, yelling back, "We just want to keep dancing." It is easier to call us broken and dismiss us than to sit. It is easier to call us broken and dismiss us than to consider that we are responding appropriately to a broken world. My little girl is not broken. She is a prophet. I want to be wise enough to stop with her, ask her what she feels, and listen to what she knows. Untamed. It's time for us to feel and listen to what we know, to hear, to pause, to be. Sensitive is a purpose. It is a knowing, and we must listen to the feelings of us. Let's breathe. I do accept all of me. I do accept my sensitivity. I do accept me where I'm not sensitive at. I accept me wholly, unapologetically. I accept me. I untie me. I am untamed, uncut. I am free to be me.